Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Elite Raceway. We are here with round 9 of 12, here with our No Assist Division 2 group. And boy, are we looking forward to this race because I just got word from our weather people that it is going to be a dry qualifying, however, a wet race. So 86% chance of rain, it says. So, as I see already a few people mentioning it is going to be a bloodbath. Jeez, we hope not. Alrighty, but we should be having hopefully two more drivers joining in. That would be 17 drivers in total. I know EA has been quite a bit of an issue these past couple days. Some of these drivers getting stuck with the communicating with servers issues. So hopefully Polly and Infant Eater are able to join in. Let me just make sure on the Discord chat in case they need anything. All right, anyway, so we are here in the streets of Baku, Azerbaijan, one of my favorite tracks. Going to be an interesting race, it seems. So, for those who are watching for the first time, we do have short qualifying at the moment, followed by a 50% race distance. So, if I'm not mistaken, that is 26 laps around the track. And Paulie just worrying about trying to race for this group. But yeah, a 6 kilometer track, 20 corners, 12 to the left, 8 to the right. Quite of a bit of a mix on tight street racing and flat out areas on this track. Two DRS zones. And if I'm not mistaken, regarding the championship, we do have Nate Oxy here with us today, who wasn't able to join 2 weeks ago. He was on the podium last week, leading the championship with a total of 232 points, and has honestly been quite the benchmark all season. Really consistent, has the pace, uh, doing honestly a really phenomenal job this whole season. R. Manson, right behind him, holds second with a total of 155 points. So the gap is big, I will say that, but it's not impossible. We do like to say how you never know, anything can happen. And I'm not sure if anybody is on Steam for Pauly. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, Chevy Wolves, as I looked up from my phone. Taking a little bit too much wall there, and he's going to have mega straight line speed. And is he going to go back into the pits? No, he's actually going to go for the lap. So puts in his lap at 143.8. Looks like we do have the kick sauber of Padron Paz, who seems to be putting in his lap. And let me see if I can send them another invite. Hopefully we can get both these drivers in. Bit of a hassle looking over the whole list. Jeez. And ooh, looks like actually no, Jordan putting in a 141.4 puts in the provisional poll at the moment. Last week we did have Paulie for the win. We've actually had two new first time winners of ERA here in these last 2 weeks. So I do wonder if we'll have another new driver or if Nate Oxy will continue his round of podiums on this track or on this season actually. And one of our first time winners here in ERA, we are keeping an eye on Mini Tony, who looks like is going to be starting his lap soon. Seems to be on a banker lap. Let's see if Maestro. No. Actually, Relativity is on his lap. So regarding the Constructors' Championship, we do have the Mercedes team of Autron and Nate Oxy with a total of 331 points. Quite a bit of a gap, honestly, from second. The Racing Bulls of Leader Leadbag and Junior with a total of 247 points and 1 point behind. That is the Williams of Relativity. And unfortunately, his teammate who isn't here today, that is Joven Rowley, who has to prepare for a test. So, so best of luck on that test, senor. But anyways, Relativity, plenty of battery to use on the longest straight of this track. But Relativity crossing the line puts in a 144.0. Let's see, is Mini Tony on his? I know he was on a banker. Ooh, and as we look onto him, missing his braking point and taking a little bit of a detour. And I do hope he's not stuck. No, gotta do a little bit of a back and forth on the reverse on the neutral. Jeez. Alrighty, but anyways, looking at DRS Maestro. Maestro now on his lap. We'll take a look at him. Go over a little bit of the sector. So here in sector 1, turn 2. A little bit cautious right there on the brakes, but honestly not a bad idea considering you don't want to go straight into the wall. And Maestro already knows I'm putting a little bit of pressure on him considering he hasn't scored any points these past 4 weeks in a row. And I think that is the Haas who is on his outlap, who does need to get out of the way for DRS Maestro. I don't think he's taken a look at his mirrors though, and looks like he has finally seen him. And Maestro, unfortunately, I think he might have to back out of that. And oh no, looks like that is yellow flags for Mini Tony, who has been forced to retire from the session. Not exactly sure what happened there, if any of the drivers are around him. No, doesn't, can't really tell. And switching, switching back to DRS Maestro, now pulling the Voldemort look with no wing at all. So apparently that curved straight is really catching a couple of the drivers. I think that was Chevy Wolves in his first lap, and now DRS Maestro. And we do have Hafrenix who is putting in his lap. Hafrenix who actually just mentioned a couple minutes ago that he lost the feedback on his wheel. So here's hoping that has come back and he can feel everything on the track. Infant Eater stressing out a little bit regarding not able to join into the session. Well, let me see if I can send Paulie another one. Yeah, so I do apologize for all the pauses regarding having to make sure all the drivers are in. We do want to make sure we do have a good enough group. And Hafrenix crossing the line puts in a 142.9, a tenth away from our Manson. Relativity out of nowhere crossing the line puts in a 142.4. So a second away from Jordan, who we do have 2 new drivers today, Jordan and another one joining in today. So best of luck to those 2, and I'm sure DRS Maestro has explained all the rules regarding our league. And oh, it looks like Padron Paz has left the session, so let me see if I could get him in as well. Alrighty, so Autron putting in a lap that was the McLaren of, I believe, our Manson trying to get out the way. And was that a bit of a wall touch? I'm not sure if that was from Autron or the driver on the other side of the track. So the castle, honestly, the biggest concern here on this track. All the drivers very weary about going through it, and yeah, reasonably. I mean, no ghosting is disabled, so all the drivers are going to have to be conscious going through it. Autron just invalidating. Nate Oxy put in a 140.5. And will Jordan be able to catch enough of those of that time? Looks like he has. Actually, doesn't look like he's on his lap. Let's take a look at Chevy. And looks like we do have Jared join in as well, so I will send him an invite. There we go. Yeah, so technically it should be 18 drivers, but due to EA, two of them having a little bit of trouble joining in, so and so it looks like that is Chevy going back into the pits. Is Infant Eater and the F1 Poly D saying this is a targeted attack against, I guess, Steam drivers. Oh man, no, I do feel horrible. Hopefully, yeah, within these last couple minutes they can join in. It looks like I don't see him online. Alrighty, and that is Infant Eater asking for another invite. So let's see if hopefully this one works. Alrighty, so keeping an eye on Fat Angel to see if he has or if he was able to improve. We do have three drivers who have yet to put in a time. That is another one, Autron and Padron Paz. But Fat Angel crossing the line and looks like no, that may have actually been a banker lap. And Infant Eater desperately trying to join into the session. So now apparently he doesn't appear on my online list. But oh, it looks like while that happened, DRS Maestro pushing himself up to 7th, a 143.1. And it does seem like Hafrenix may be up on his time. It did show a little bit of a scrape to the wall, but let's see if that actually affected anything. So Hafrenix is able to improve by 2/10 and surpasses our Manson. Having a little bit of a Tokyo drift right there, but doing well to keep the car straight. Looks like we do have quite a number of cars getting out the pit lane right there. And leader lead back going a tad bit wide. Surprisingly, no damage to the car. And looks like he may be down on his time. We'll take a look at Atron, who seems to be putting his. So in what position will Atron be able to put himself in? As we mentioned, the Mercedes team are leading the constructors, so does have to put himself in a good qualifying position. Puts himself in the top 8, starting in 8th position. Si Padron Paz finishing up as his as well, pushes Atron down, moves to 7th. And looks like we do have Hafrenix, who has invalidated his time. Relativity. Actually, we'll take a look at Nate Oxy, who is in Sector 1. Does have his teammate right in front of him, so he does have to make sure he's able to get out of the way for Nate. And chooses a perfect opportunity to do so, I will say that. Let's see if... I know Infant Eater is saying good luck. Good luck, gang. We are trying to make sure you get into the session. So we'll try one more time. Hopefully you both are able to join in. But Nate Oxy finishing up here in Sector 2, and it seems like while that was happening, he invalidates his lap. So we do have Jordan, who has retired from the session and is going to settle for that second place start. However, we do have Chevy Wolves, who seems to be finishing up Sector 2. And has he improved enough? So Chevy Wolves actually up 8/10 on his time, has put in a purple second sector. So might get enough to be able to get past Jordan on the starting grid. So Chevy Wolves crossing the line is going to put in a 141.2, puts himself in second. Padron Paz crossing the line, wasn't able to improve, so he's going to settle for that position. Chernobyl clocks on his on his outlap, so not enough time to really put anything in, but and looks like we do have two drivers who have not put in a time. And Infant Eater actually asking if you can join on the strategy screen. So unfortunately, you can't due to this game. Yeah, best chance of trying to join into the session was during qualifying. Alrighty, so regarding our starting grid, we have Nate Oxy starting on pole position with a 140.5. Right behind him, we do have Chevy Wolves from third to the end. We have Jordan, Armanton, Relativity, Hafrenix, Padron Paz, DRS Maestro, Atron, Leader Leadbag, Chernobyl Clocks, Junior, Fat Angel, Mini Tony, another one, and Jared. So that is our grid. Unfortunately, we could have had 18 drivers, but EA being EA, not letting Polly and Infant Eater join in. So hopefully next week they can have better luck. Infant Eater, who was actually on the podium last week, so definitely had a lot of potential to really put in a fight this week. But yeah, hopefully they could join in for the next race. But But anyways, as we mentioned, it is going to be a rainy race here in Baku. Our first rain this whole week. So looking forward to see how this goes. Of course, the drivers they do have to be extra cautious now, especially with the braking. You do have to brake quite earlier, especially with lap one, as I like to remind them, since they are going to be bundled up. Um, Not an easy track, I know it's not. So all the drivers they definitely do have to be careful to not really cause a chain reaction, especially in Castle. I think all of them are nervous about that. And it seems like Nate Oxy may not have actually been prepared for the rain. Saying that he didn't see rain, and for those who aren't aware, we do run with park firm off. So whatever they were running on qualifying is going to be the setup that they are running for the race. So if he was running a dry setup, then my goodness, I wish him well. Oh man. But of course, all the drivers, for those who are watching for the first time, they do have a couple minutes break just to make sure they secure their strategies, and looks like they have readied up. But anyways, let's put up all this information, and lights are off and away they go. And are they able to get away? Nate Oxys remaining ahead, and looks like a little bit of contact right behind. We do have Relativity who has gained a position, it seems. Take a look at the position changes actually. And I did see a little bit of carbon fire fall off, so I do wonder which drivers have picked up a bit of damage there. However, the top five remaining ahead, and it does seem like Nate Oxy. Oh, that is Chevy Wolves going straight into the runoff. Might have missed his braking point there, and is going to have to get back onto the track. Looks like that is the Mercedes of Autron, who wasn't close enough to make to run into him, but let's see any movement happening in the back. That may be a little bit of contact between Relativity and Padron Paz, it seems. However, another one doing a phenomenal job to gain 10 positions there at the start, and it does seem like that is yellow flags. That may actually just be a virtual safety car. I don't see any yellow dot appearing off of the pit lane there on the track map. I do want to take a look at who has, or if any of the drivers have picked up damage. So that is the Haas of Fat Angel, who is missing both his end plates. DRS Maestro missing his wing completely. You see, we do have Junior missing his left end plate, and Hafrenix, we'll take a look right there. So quite a few drivers who are missing their end plates. So as I mentioned, head down. You never know if a safety car is going to come out. It is Baku. And they do have to make sure that they don't pick up any drive-through penalty. Drive-through penalties on this game. And as I say that, Jordan pick up a drive-through penalty. R. Manson with a little bit of pressure by another one. Is another one going to go on the inside? No, he's going to stay right close behind. Now putting, or now Relativity now putting a little bit of pressure on another one there. And another one going a tad bit wide. And so through goes Williams of Relativity there. So looking at the penalties, so both the two front runners with a drive-through penalty. So that is definitely not going to help them in this race unless a safety car comes in later on. However, Padron Paz with the missing left end plate does have Chernobyl clocks right behind them. And is Chernobyl going to take advantage here? No, looks like he's not going to be close enough. Polly, unfortunately, joining in. Oh, looks like that's a missing end plate there. That might have been the Red Bull of another one, and it is. Yeah, so the drive-throughs, I see Infant Eater asking what the drive-throughs were for. So I am assuming the virtual safety car, they weren't under the Delta. So unfortunately, the getting penalized with the drive-through penalty, and that is the Williams of Relativity going wide and unfortunately popping that right tire off, and that is going to bring out a safety car. So that is going to help a number of drivers who picked up damage on that first corner or on that first lap. If it, and so it looks like we do have a couple drivers who are going to be pitting. That is another one going into the pits. Junior as well, I believe, may have. Did he retire? I don't think he retired in the pits. I think he may have had a little bit of an incident. Fat Angel now picking up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So as we mentioned, this track is very, very tricky. It is a very challenging track, especially with no assist driving. So of course, lots of these drivers, all the drivers are going to have to really learn the braking points and really be precise on their corners. And Relativity saying it rarely rains in Baku, so he's really angry about that. I think last season we did actually have the rain in this track. Actually, not last season. I think it was 2 seasons ago where even I was racing in it, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But oh, Jared joining the penalty party and picking up a 3-second penalty there. Alrighty, and Nate Oxy asking if you are allowed to serve the drive-throughs under the safety car. So no, by standard rules, you cannot. You're going to have to wait to do so after it goes in. So please, I have seen some drivers who weren't aware of that and have tried 3 times to go into the pits and try serving it. So well, looks like we do have another one who is may have actually been switching over that wing. But regarding the position changes, we do have leader Leebag in the V carb up 7 positions, Mini Tony up 7 positions as well. Highest positions actually is Jared in the Ferrari. So yeah, for Nate Oxy and Jordan, the drive-through does delay the number of laps that you have to go in. So please don't overthink it too much. Once the safety car goes in, you could serve your drive-through penalty. But let's see, regarding the penalties, speaking of penalties, so yeah, these two in the front with the drive-through, 3-second penalty for both Chernobyl Clocks and Jared, and Fat Angel with a 10-second penalty. If I were actually Fat Angel, I probably would have tried serving it in this under the safety car, but yeah, because he would have lost only 3 positions and could still do a lot of difference in the in the following laps. But anyways, the safety car is still waiting for a couple drivers to join in. That is both the Red Bulls. So it should be going around for one more lap, and after that we shall resume the racing. And Polly D saying he was finally able to join into the session. However, of course, we already started the race, and saying he would have won in the rain. So, so good luck. So we do appreciate that good luck and that confidence. Now, I do wonder if it's going to be raining the whole time. I'm not sure if I'll take a look at the picture DRS Maestro was able to send me, and actually, yeah, it does look like it is going to be a rainy race throughout the whole time. Alrighty, so safety car is in this lap. We do have leader Li Bang, who's actually in a really good position concerning both the drivers in front of him have the drive-through penalty. So he definitely has to defend against Armanton and Padron Paz. However, yeah, stay calm and collected, and you could probably possibly end up either with a win or a podium, depending on how this race goes. But Nate Oxy is in charge of the safety car restart. It's going to be setting up the pace for the grid as the safety car goes in. And when will he be setting off? And looks like he has started off, and Nate Oxy's building that gap ahead of Jordan. Leader Liebach right behind Jordan there, and looks like we do have a bit of movement between the two Ferraris. Leader Liebach possibly looking to make a move on the inside. No, he's going to stay right behind Padron Paz, getting past Chernobyl. Mini Tony getting past Chernobyl now. Chernobyl being a bit cautious on with the cars around him. So Nate Oxy asking if he can go into the drive-through. He can. They both can serve the drive-through now since the safety car is in. And it looks like we do have a bit of movement happening in the back. That is DRS Maestro. Seems like he might have possibly missed his braking point and has gone into the runway. Bring it forward, bring it back. There you go. Jeez. Ooh, Jordan getting super close to the wall there, and both Nate and Jordan doing really well to extend the gap ahead of leader Lee by 2.4 seconds ahead. Ooh, and that is Chernobyl going a little bit wide right there. I do wonder if he picked up any damage. Looks like no, still keeping the car intact. So most likely Nate Oxy is going to be serving the drive-through penalty now. Oh, Jordan. Jordan's been giving a little bit of a kiss to the wall quite a few times this whole race. And oh man, that is not going to be good for Nate and Jordan. That is not going to let them serve the penalty. And it seems like that may have been two incidents right there, Altron and Chernobyl. Chernobyl, I think, may have actually gone a little bit too wide right here on the curved straight and had, from what I had seen on the track map, and possibly Altron as well. Not exactly sure there, but yeah, that definitely didn't give Nate, Oxy, and Jordan the opportunity to serve their drive-through penalty. And yeah, Chernobyl saying it's such a tough track. Yeah, but you know what? Big respects for actually trying to do it. Alrighty, and looks like we do have a couple of drivers who are picking up penalties. That is Hafrenix picking up a 10-second penalty now. Alrighty, so it's going to take a couple of laps for the drivers to really bundle up together. As we can see, the safety car is in sector one. We do have leader Lee Bag and our Manton as well joining into the pits and getting rid of those intermediate tires, going for the fresh ones. And oh, looks like that is the Ferrari there in sector two disappearing from the map. I know exactly which corner that is. That has caught quite a few, I think, already. So at this point, it's just literally survival of the fittest on who can really not die on this track. My jeez. Oh no, DRS managed to pick up a 10-second penalty for crossing the pit lane on the exit. And oh no, that is the Haas as well. Man, these boys are just dropping down like flies. It's entertaining on my end, but I know it's not for you guys. So I do apologize uh, for having this track this season. Of course, lots of people were asking me last season why it wasn't on it, but yeah, considering this is your first season with us, it is a bit of a challenge for some of you. And Infant Eater already calling that half of the field is going to be out. I do beg them not to, actually. I do want to see hopefully more than half of them survive. It's not the prettiest thing to see when only 5 drivers out of the whole pack retire from the track. But as we mentioned, again, leader Leebag in a really good position at the moment. Nate Oxy and Jordan having to serve those drive-through penalties. DRS Maestro and Hafrenix, both of them with 10 seconds of penalties. We'll take a look at the position changes. So we do have Both leader Liebag and Mini Tony gaining 7 positions. Another one gaining 9 positions, so that is the most. And does seem like Chevy Wolves down 6 positions, having lucked out a little bit on the braking there on the first lap, having gone onto the runoff. But still big respects for him for still sticking it out and actually trying to finish the race. And looks like DRS Maestro is going to go into the pits and serve the 10-second penalty. So honestly, a really good move by him. And he will be on the fresh intermediates as well. Oh, and you know what? I do apologize. I did realize just now that I didn't put up the link for you guys on the Discord chat. So let me just put that up really quick. I was so busy trying to get Paulie and Infant Eater on. Let's see. Yep, there you go. Give you a little bit of a shout out right there. I do apologize for that. But we do still have quite a number of tracks left. So we are on lap 9 out of 26. That leaves us 17 tracks, including this one. Sorry, laps including this one. And the safety car just waiting for DRS Maestro to catch up to the rest of the field. And with that, it should be going back in for the next lap. Maestros, putting your wheel a little bit too close to the wall. My goodness. I know you drive in cockpit view, but that was mighty close for comfort. Jeez. I do wonder how the track is feeling. It doesn't look so wet. But of course the game does give you a different feel, especially in Singapore. Alrighty, so DRS Maestro has caught up to the field now. And oh, that was a bit of a heavy sound. And I think that may have actually been Jordan, the Williams. Yep, he is missing his right end plate there. And boy, does that really mess up the race for him. He is going to have to pit twice. That's if he doesn't retire, of course. But he is going to have to go in for the drive-through penalty and for if he wants to change that wing. It's going to have mega straight line speed, though. I will give him that. It looks like Nate Oxy has set off now, and leader Liebag sticking really close to the back of Jordan. I do think Jordan's going to go into the pits there. Yep, he is, so that is going to push leader Liebag up a position. R. Manson following right behind. It looks like another one making a move on the inside of Tony there. And DRS Maestro looking to make a bit of money moves. Unfortunately, Hafren is going for the switchback. Gets the traction, is going to be setting off, although DRS Maestro going for the attack again. And is going to be able to make the move. So it looks like Jordan has pit to fix the wing. He is still with the drive-through penalty there. So still plenty of laps remaining, so you never know if another safety car may come out. Oh, Padron passed a little bit too close to the wall there in Castle. And is getting pressured by another one who may have... Actually, looks like he's not going to be close enough to make a move yet. And that is Jordan, who has had an incident. I think that is right before Castle. And that is going to bring out another safety car. So one more safety car. Jeez. And Uncle Turbo from Tier 2 saying that rain in Baku should be a crime. And that is very, very true. To be honest, I never would have thought. I mean, I've raced Baku in the rain a couple times, but it's so rare. And honestly, it is nice to see a wet race. Unfortunately, not for these guys who race with no assist. It's not the most easiest thing. I've tried it just for kicks and giggles, and that's what I'm gonna keep it as, just kicks and giggles. I'm not gonna even try professionally trying to drive this way, but and Fat Angel saying hearing me laugh at his crash actually made it less painful. So I do apologize. I do apologize. It's ay, my reaction when it's driver errors is much different when it's actually a really big mistake from that causes an incident. So between two drivers. And if I'm not mistaken, some of these guys actually want to try a cockpit view on one of our. We do have a break next week, so I will go back into that. I believe I did mention we were gonna think about just doing a fun, casual race amongst each other and trying the forced cockpit view. And I'm pretty sure DRS Maestro would probably enjoy that as well, since he's already a professional with that. So. Well, let's take another look at the position changes. So we do have leader lead back up still 8 positions, another one up 10 positions. So probably looking for a driver of the day. And Mini Tony as well with 8 positions gained. Maestro saying he's a pro into the wall. You know what? I'm actually genuinely surprised that you are sticking at it and trying to finish this race. I will give you that. If you finish top 5, I'll be even more impressed. But that's only because we know Maestro has a lot of potential. Maestro saying, "Buy me dinner if I get top 5." No, senor, I can't. Your fiance is gonna go after me. Which again, big congratulations, congratulations, DRS. We do like to hear you winning the game on and off the track, yeah. But Uncle Turbo, I do see your little suggestion on an F1 Battle Royale. I actually do like the sound of that, and if you're ever interested in actually trying to help out in planning that, I'd probably I would actually appreciate that. That's actually a really good idea. Alrighty, so if I'm not mistaken, the safety car is going to be going in this lap. We do have all the drivers bundled up together. And so Nate Oxy leading the safety car pack at the moment, so it is going to go in this lap. Nate Oxy does have that drive-through penalty. And when will Nate Oxy set off? He is giving the safety car enough time to go back into the pits. Leader Leadbag right on his tail. And looks like Nate Oxy is off, and so does Leader Leadbag follow right behind. Let's see, do we have any movement happening in the back? That may be Mini Tony looking to make a move on another one. Looks like he's going to stay right behind. I did see yellow flags, but I think that may just be the game saying to be cautious. I think Hafrenig's going into the pits to probably serve that 10-second penalty. Which actually might not be a bad idea considering the chances of another safety car, so you do want to get rid of that. We do have 12 laps remaining, including this one. Nate Oxy extending the gap to over a second ahead of leader Leadbag. Again, he does have that drive-through penalty. Hafrenix does serve the 10-second penalty, so... Oh my goodness, now picking up another 10-second penalty for crossing the exit, and that... Oh my goodness, that is like getting slapped on both cheeks. My gosh. That is so horrendous, jeez. But Neoxy still extending the gap, almost 2 seconds ahead of leader Leadbag. Our Manson staying right close behind of Leadbag there, and we might actually have another gap closing as well. Mini Tony on the back of another one. So again, DRS is not going to be enabled with these conditions, so the drivers are going to have to be precise on their ERS usage. Let's see, the Manson is still a little bit too far back. Maestro possibly looking to make a move on Mini Tony up ahead. Nate Oxy is going to serve that that drive-through penalty, and as he does go into the pits, picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, and DRS Maestro, whew. Did he pick up any damage? He did. He is missing his right end plate there, and Nate Oxy saying he didn't speed into the pit lane. So, of course, if you don't serve the penalty, you can definitely appeal it, and that is Aladon Paz missing his brake and parked right there on the exit. So yeah, Nate Oxy, if you don't think you were speeding into the pit lane, of course you can definitely appeal it. Just make sure you don't serve it. I think that may have been Mini Tony who went into the runway there. And hopefully he doesn't cut a corner for a penalty there. Yeah. Ooh, that is Mini Tony missing his wing. And so Nate Oxy is going to have to be super careful considering Mini Tony's going to be super slow on especially on this upcoming castle section. Yeah, so it looks like Mini Tony isn't going to defend that. And so up ahead, we do have leader Leebag leading the pack now, our new race leader. He does have our Manson right behind him. And I do wonder if it's going to be drying soon, because it is looking a bit sunny. However, we always know how the game is. Looks up in the back, both the Red Bulls switching around a little bit. Oh, that is DRS Maestro. No. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna have to start keeping my eye off you. Every time I look at you, something happens. And unfortunately, Mini Tony retiring in the pit lane. Oh man, I'm just not gonna look at you, Maestro, anymore. Jeez. Ay, ay, ay. But looks like we do have two close battles. That is our Manson right on the back of leader Lee Bang. Nate Oxy on the back of Padron Pass, who I found that mistaken. I think he did pick up damage after going a bit wide, and he did. So he does have that missing left end plate. Nate Oxy having to deal with all the drivers who are who have damage right in front of him. And oh, scraping the wall a little bit there. Does have to be careful considering the physics on this game. A slight touch will pop off your tire, so. And it does look like up ahead, leader Leebag has extended the gap to 1.4 seconds ahead of our Manson. So I do wonder if Neoxy is going to be able to put a move on Padron Paz. That is the Alpine of Hafrenix there. And most likely has picked up damage. Yeah, it has that wing is chopped up, jeez. But Neoxy is going to be able to get the move done on Padron Pass, and as that happened, another one picking up the fastest lap at the moment at 143.6. And Uncle Turbo saying, I commentator cursed him on Tuesday. You're gonna have to. I have a horrible memory sometimes when it comes to after these races, so feel free to ping me the timestamp to look back at it. Would love to see it and possibly make it as a YouTube short. Make you famous, yeah? So it looks like we do have a closing gap between another one and Chevy Wolves. A little bit going up and down there. And now another one picking up a 3-second penalty there. So that is going to possibly put Chevy Wolves in a possible podium right there. And Mini Tony actually mentioning that he didn't retire in the pit lane. He actually binned it entering the pits, and it is a tricky pit entry. I will say that. I did see quite a few close calls this past week looking at the other groups, but yeah, no, very unfortunate. But big respects for lasting that long on the track. It's not an easy track, as we continuously like to mention. But Nate Oxy picking up the fastest lap at 152.9. If it stays like that, he will be picking up 2 extra points for the fastest lap. And it looks like Chevy Wolves has dropped back quite a bit on another one. I do wonder if he has picked up any damage there. Nope. So looking at the penalties again, we do have another one with 3 seconds. Neoxy, yay, our Manson, jeez. It made my heart skip a beat and not in a good way. My gosh. Neoxy picking up a 10-second penalty as well. So if it stays like this, Padrón possibly looking for a top 5 position finish. And ooh, that is yellow flags. Looks like that is Hafrenix again. I don't think he actually pit to fix that wing, and if anything, I think he actually may have made it a little bit worse there. Yeah, I wanted to go for the symmetry look, huh? So as I mentioned earlier, we did have two first-time ERA winners these last 2 weeks. And speaking of that, Leader Liebeck has not yet won or ever won an ERA race. Uh, so yeah, I mean, we never know. We could probably be looking for 3 weeks in a row a new first-time winner. Our Manson has won before, if I'm not mistaken. He did win in which track was it? Which track was it? Have to take a quick look. There we go. In Saudi Arabia, our Manson won. So maybe he's the king of street tracks. And Mini Tony telling me to stop because I'm going to probably jinx everybody, yeah? And Uncle Turbo asking who makes the track schedule. That is a bit of a mix between a couple of few people, me included, but we do tend to try including tracks that haven't been there last season. So, for example, this season we didn't. Oh well, last season we didn't have Hungary, we didn't have Baku, we didn't have Jeddah, and I'm trying to remember what else we did not have. And we didn't have Belgium. So we had quite a few tracks like this one where we didn't have it included last season. A few drivers asking why not. And yeah, we figured, well, let's put those in for this season and let's see how this goes. And honestly, it has been quite an interesting season. But going back into the race, 6 laps remaining, and leader Liebag has done an amazing job to extend the gap from our Manson. So now 3.4 seconds ahead. We do have another one, and who is closing in? Actually, no, it looks like Chevy Wolf's closing in on the back of another one now. And another one taking a little bit of a hit to the wall there. I don't think, yeah, it looks like he has picked up left end plate damage there. It does seem like Maestro is going to gain a position. That is going to be Padrón Paz entering the pits. And yeah, Turbo, the reason, so we had Mexico last season, but unfortunately there has been quite a bit of a glitch. If you look back on our races in Mexico specifically, there are I don't know how it is on this new game. I think we actually did have it on this new game. I could be wrong. Anyways, Mexico was quite glitchy, especially there was a insane pit lane glitch, so we just chose not to really try avoiding that track this season. Especially since I think we had it 2 seasons in a row. So yeah, no, it is a bit of a rotation when it comes to the track selections. But looking at the track, we do have Nate Oxy now closing in on Chevy Wolves. Nate Oxy really eating up that time despite having the older tires, 13-lap-old intermediates. Has used up quite a bit of battery. Chevy Wolves using a bit to try to defend, and as well as try closing in on another one. And ooh, another one going straight, pulling a Hamilton. going straight to the runway right there, and that is going to move Chevy Wolves up a position. Nate Oxy now right behind Chevy Wolves, and DRS is enabled now. So it looks like the track is drying up. I think that may have been actually with the help of the 3 safety cars that we had. Really extending that weather. But we do still have Nate Oxy with that 10-second penalty. However, of course, we never know if they can appeal that. So that's why we usually tell the drivers to still try fighting if they think they can appeal it. So leader Leadbag really doing a phenomenal job to continue with the gap, keep on holding that lead. Is now 5 seconds ahead of our Manson. We do have Nate Oxy still trailing the back of Chevy Wolves. As we mentioned, DRS is enabled, so they are going to be looking to make some moves on these on that DRS straight coming up. It looks like we do have Chevy Wolves possibly looking to make a move. He is going to make a move on our Manson there. And is Nate Oxy going to be making the move as well? So Nate Oxy looking to go on the inside and is going to make the move stick. Although I think that may have been a bit of a lockup and a loss of the rear right there. But still staying ahead of our Manson. Our Manson does have the choice to try fighting it out to get the position back, or just try remaining within the penalty of Nate Oxy there. And oh, Nate Oxy again losing the rear and unfortunately dropping down that position. So that is going to move our Manson up to third, and Nate Oxy, I'm not sure if it's just the tires that are really wearing out. It does look like the track is drying up a little bit. As we mentioned, the DRS is enabled, so the track is going to be feeling a little bit different. Boy, and Nate Oxy just struggling with those tires. My goodness, for a second I thought it was going to be another Leclerc moment. Jeez, giving me a little bit of a heart attack. This guy, gee, I'm gonna have to keep my eyes off him. Alrighty, before laps remaining, including this one, leader Leadbag leading the pack. Nate Oxy having our Manson right in front of him. He is going to get the DRS, however, not enough battery probably to make a move. So our Manson staying right ahead, and do want to take a look at the fastest lap. So DRS Maestro has actually picked up the fastest lap on 152.1, taking that away from Nate Oxy there. So Nate Oxy going to have to be careful, and Maestro's picking up another fastest lap of 151.8. Nate Oxy probably having on the back of his mind to not lose the rear again. He's already done so twice, and our Manson wiggly on the exit there and is going to lose a position from Nate Oxy there. So it looks like our Manson may be struggling with those tires as well. And I did want to see if Chevy Wolves was able. Actually, no, this is his third race with us. And Chevy Wolves has yet to pick up a podium. So, a first time for possibly these two drivers up in the front. But leader Leeback still remaining ahead, 3.6 seconds ahead of Chevy Wolves. Hafrenix picking up the fastest lap at 151.7, so a tenth away from what DRS Maestro was able to put. And if I'm not mistaken, Hafrenix tends to usually have a friend watch him on the stream. I don't think he's on today, but I do see we do have Mini Tony giving Hafrenix a little bit of a cheer as well. But 2 laps remaining, including this one. Is leader Leadback going to be getting the win tonight? Anything can happen in these final laps. But honestly, leader Leadback doing a really good job to keep it steady and keeping the car intact. And actually, look, it looks like we do have someone cheering on for Simon for Hafernix as well. That is Simon Castaneda cheering on Hafernix. So big welcome to you guys. And we do have PO2 as well watching the stream. So hope you have been enjoying the race. It has been quite eventful. And ooh, I do wonder did another one actually have a 10-second penalty? So another one with 16 seconds of penalties. So that is going to move DRS Maestro up a position, most likely at the end. I did tell him I was going to be mega surprised if he was able to pick up a top 5. Looks like he is listening in. Who is that? Hafrenix, who has gone. Yeah, a few drivers pulling in the Hamilton look, but it's been a little bit of a switch around with these two. Maestro picking up the fastest lap of 151.5. I do wonder if he was using his teammate, another one, to help him with the pull, but mega teamwork from these two. And looking up ahead, so Chevy Wolves has now closed the gap quite a bit from leader Leebag. Leebag, who's over 3 seconds ahead of Chevy Wolves now, 1.1 seconds. And I do wonder if he's just struggling with the tires or if he's just trying to save up that battery for that final lap. He's going to have to save up quite a lot for that final straight, so we will be keeping an eye on these two. We do have, seems another one still on the back of DRS Maestro. However, I'm pretty sure another one had that damage unless he did pit. Yeah, he did pit, so he does have the car all fixed up. But oh no, Chevy Wolves. Yeah, that looks like that corner has caught quite a number of drivers, and that is Hafrenix losing the car as well in Sector 3, right on the curved straight there. Yeah, I do wonder if the car is going to disappear or if we'll see it right here. And no, it looks like it disappeared right on time. And boy, that debris, that debris has, yeah, the marshals had quite a bit of job of work to do. However, it was on the second to last lap, if I'm not mistaken, so it still works out for him in getting points. He will finish, I believe, P8. But Chevy Wolves losing out on that final push and does have a missing right end plate. So this is most likely leader Liebag. I mean, I'm gonna put a little bit of pressure on him. He's going to have to make sure he keeps the car away from the walls and just survive it for these final corners. Looks like we did have a yellow flag that might have been Armanson losing a little bit of time from Nate Oxy. But another one now picking up another 3 seconds. So that is 19 seconds for him. And that is most likely going to put him down to 7. So somehow Chevy Wolves actually catching up to leader Liebag. That might have actually been the help of the missing end plate. And is going to be a line finish. So Chevy Wolves using all the batter he can. Leader Liebag as well. And looks like Chevy Wolves is going to get the win, and leader Liebag losing out just by a tad bit, by a tenth away. Oh man, I'm sure he's beating himself up for that. But Nate Oxy going to cross the line does still have that 10-second penalty, and Armanson is going to get that podium finish. And man, what a heck of a drive from Chevy Wolves, who had lucked out. I'm assuming leader Liebag may have made a mistake towards the end. Maestro losing out quite a bit. I'm assuming. Oh, looks like he may have. Looks like he had a bit of an incident there. Was losing his wing. And man, what a heck of a race! I will say big respects to all these guys who were able to finish it, and for those who actually tried attempting it. I know lots of these drivers. This is Division 2. This is a division where drivers are learning the Gnosis. So yeah, big respects for them for attempting it. I know it's not an easy track. But wow, Chevy Wolves for the win on the final lap. I do want to see what happened with leader Liebag's point of view. But that is Chevy Wolves in the Ferrari for the win. Leader Liebag in second, actually gaining from 10th on the grid. So still great job by leader Liebag. Sharing the podium in third as well, we do have Armanson, his second podium, I believe, in ERA here with our Division 2 group. And from fourth all the way to the end, we do have Ney Oxy, Padron Paz, DRS Maestro, who also picks up the 2 extra points for the fastest lap at 151.5. Another one, and Hafrenix, who, even though he did retire from the last 2 laps, he still gets the points for percentage on how number of laps he was able to complete. And unfortunately, the rest who were unable to finish, Mini Tony, Jordan, Fat Angel, Jared, Autron, Chernobyl Jr., and Relativity. Those are our drivers for today. But honestly, I mean, great job from all these drivers. Phenomenal last lap. Um, very unlucky for leader Liebag. Could have been his first win. However, it's going to be Chevy's first win. Um, here's hoping on the next couple races we'll see how if leader Liebag could try getting it back. But yeah, everybody, thank you for watching a heck of a race. I did really enjoy that, even with the number of retirements. I mean, like I mentioned, it's not an easy track. But but yeah, I mean, after this we do have our week break, our Labor Day vacation for us Americans. Uh, so yeah, we won't be here for next Wednesday. However, we will be back in 2 weeks, and that will be in España, in Spain. And let's see, I'm trying to look at see if leader Liebag mentioned anything. Oh, looks like his controller may have slipped or his wheel wasn't working. I don't know. All right, anyways, but everybody, thank you for watching. All the drivers who are on the live chat, we do appreciate you guys watching. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you're new. But anyways, yeah, have a good night, everybody. Have a nice week off. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next race.